In the previous video, we talked about hard power, soft power, and smart power. But countries have also another type of power, which is latent power. Latent power refers to the ingredients that go into making military power. So it is largely based on a country's economic wealth and the size of its population. This is because to create military power, countries need money, they need technology, and they need people. Economic wealth is important because countries need money and technology to train and to modernize their military forces. And on top of that, the costs of great power wars are incredibly high. And population is also important because countries need people to build a military force. So great powers require big armies, which can be raised only in countries that have large populations. So it is very hard for countries that have small populations to become great powers. However, population has to be combined with economic wealth. So take for example India and China during the Cold War. Both countries had much larger populations than the Soviet Union and the Americans, but neither country became a great power because they were not as wealthy as the other two superpowers. So economic wealth is the main factor for latent power when you have a large population. So wealth is the foundation for military power. If you have a large population but low economic wealth, your latent power might not be so high. And this is part of the reason why the countries like the United States are worried about China, not because of China's actual current military capabilities, but because of China's latent power. China has a very large and fast-growing economy, and it also has a massive population of 1.4 million people. So when you have a lot of money and when 20% of the world's population lives in your country, you have a lot of potential resources that you can use in case of conflict. So this gives you a lot of latent power. So if China becomes especially wealthy, it can become a military superpower and become a peer competitor, a challenger to the United States. And from there, we go back to the geopolitical competition of balance of power politics between great powers. And it is likely that we will see countries nearby from China forming regional alliances and anti-hegemonic coalitions because countries cannot 100% trust the intentions of other countries, neither now and much less in the future. So they have to rely instead on measuring the other country's power instead of measuring their intentions, because intentions are unreliable. Intentions can change at any given moment. So if you let another country grow in power and you don't do anything about it because that country has good intentions, you might be at a very big disadvantage in 10, 20, 30 years if that country keeps on increasing its power and then it suddenly changes its intentions. So making decisions based on the intentions of other countries can be very unreliable because they can change at any given moment. So countries don't rely on other countries' intentions. They rely more on measuring the balance of current military power and also the balance of latent power, the potential resources that a country can use against other states, focusing of course on economic wealth and population size.